Okay. So yeah, no growth, maybe even some regression. So that leads to this question that I had, pushing past plateaus or having like a mental slump. I guess your story is going to kind of help paint this picture a little bit, but I would love to get some of your insight on that is because here we are, it sounds like within the narrative of the story, there's some regression, at best plateau going on, like other than one
Mhm.
moment of a PR. But as you said, for you, that's not it wasn't good enough according to your
Yeah.
talents or your capabilities. So if there's a plateau or a mental slump, something like that, then what is the insight you have towards that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of like once I decided to go compete post collegiately, I sort of went off on my own. And even that first year, that first year I was a lot happier, but I was still in that same slump performance wise.
Hmm.
I moved back home to California. I got a new coach. We gel really well. He's been really supportive. I really love him. But that first year, I felt like things were so much better, but my performance still wasn't there. And I think the biggest thing, obviously,
Hmm.
last year was my second year post collegiate and was, really a big breakout year for me. But what really got me past that slump to break out of that was coming back to the core of why I'm doing this sport and trying to get rid of all of that intense
Hmm.
pressure I put on myself because I still did that. I got away from that toxic college situation. I got back home. I had an awesome coach. I had awesome training partners. I thought I was loving the sport again, and it still wasn't going anywhere. And I had to, like, I was still putting a ton of pressure on myself, even that first year out. And so the biggest switch for me was really coming into this position of gratitude. And once I was able to switch into that and
Hmm.
like recognize that, like, what is this really about? Like, is this really like all of it is going into these meets and just saying, like, I am so grateful that I am healthy because there was times when I wasn't healthy. I'm so grateful that I have a coach that supports me and partners with me instead of controls me because that's where I was. And so a
Hmm.
lot of it was recognizing these things, like even little things like I'm so grateful that I get to wear whatever the heck I want to wear because when you're in college, you basically have like a dress code, you have uniforms,
Hmm.
and just the way my personality is, it's like that, like, confining to certain patterns just, like, doesn't fit who I am, and so, like, when I was able to sort of reframe everything and just, like, be like, "The results do not matter because I am loving what I'm doing, and I am so grateful that I get to be in this community, and I'm still doing what I love," that is really what freed me from this, like, jail of the pressure that I was putting on myself.
Hmm.
And instantly, like, I mean, I don't think the difference in performance between my first year out of college and my second year out of college, I don't think that difference in performance was a reflection only of the training that we did and the actual technical improvements. I'd say maybe 25% of it was technical improvements. The rest of that 75% was the mental side of being able to free myself from all of that pressure that I was, for whatever reason, putting on myself.
And you were able to free yourself through gratitude, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So that's huge insight. One of the things, and I'm a therapist, and one of the things I work with my clients on is I talk about the happiness fallacy. And essentially the point is that happiness is something that is outside of your control.
Yeah.
And when it comes, great. But you trying to force happiness is kind of it's a at the core of many human issues, especially with addiction, which is my world. Like in order to force the feeling that's outside of your control, you can only do it by pushing a cheat code. In my case, or the world that I work in would be with substances.
Yeah.
And but gratitude, though, on the other hand, is something that's within your control. You can force it, you can do
Yeah.
it on a daily basis. And by doing it, that creates joy, which is something that's sustainable and a symptom of something that you've done, which is gratitude, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't even know I don't remember if it was somebody who told me to practice that or I just started doing it, but it is funny because it's that forced thing. It's not I go into every meet naturally feeling so grateful for everything. Sometimes it's in a panic or when I'm feeling down and it's almost like annoying to be like, I'm so grateful I'm not injured. And it's like, but if you tell yourself those things and you can force it and it can pull you out of that and really like it is cool. Cause yeah, happiness is not within your control. But you can absolutely find things that you can be grateful for. And that can just shift so much of that mindset, which is such a huge part of what I do.
Yeah, I think what makes gratitude something that you can achieve as well, dependent even when you're in a pretty low state, is like the thing that you're using comparison against is typically your own experience of an earlier time that was dreadful to you, right? So if the gratitude that you're stating is like based off of injuries, which you know what that feels like to go through a period of three
Yeah.
years in a row of injury after injury or same injury after same injury after same injury, then yeah, you can definitely use that as like a spigot or a source to just let me open this up and pour some gratitude into this for right now. You know,
Yeah. Even when you're at your lowest and you don't feel like you have a lower version of you to compare yourself to, there's still little things that you can pull out. And I mean, even just like, we all have people in our lives that have been, touched by things like cancer or chronic disease or horrible injuries or death. And like we can still pull from that to understand, not necessarily just to have this comparison, but to be, wow, I truly do always have so much to be grateful for. Even if it's like the tiniest thing, like, I woke up today being able to breathe without, my nose being swollen from allergies or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, there's another type of comparison, like it's within comparison theory that is like, so one is the comparing to yourself. Then there's another one,
Yeah.
which is comparing to others. A helpful way of doing comparison of others, like like comparing yourself to the homeless person on the corner doesn't work very well. It
Yeah.
might, depending on, I guess, maybe, I don't maybe how narcissistic you might be at the time, but comparing yourself to others in terms of like up one rung of the ladder where you are at, like they're right there, it's reachable and it feels
Yeah.
tangible. You're like, man, if I maybe tweak this and tweak this, then I can kind of get there.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
that can uplift you too, because it gives you a vision and a place and a direction where to go and someone to
Yeah.
look up to kind of get there. So that's helpful too.